We're live.
Hello and welcome to Workbank ThinkTank. I'm Tanya, Workbank's Talent Development Officer. Thank you for joining us today in our FB Live series by being here. Find out about what we do at Workbank by watching this video. Please visit workbank.com for the freshest jobs that are available out there. We also offer free trainings and career tips. Wherever you are in your career, Workbank is here to support you every step of the way. Now, please help me welcome my co-host for today. It's her first time in Workbank Think Tank. Please give her an extra warm welcome, Workbank's Business Development Manager, Angel Dasjurdi. Hello, Angel.
Hi, Tanya, and good afternoon to our viewers. Without much ado, let us get on to what we all came here for. There are many different skills that experts say can help you attain professional success and personal growth. And today we will talk about one of the most vital attributes and sometimes considered a critical skill to develop emotional intelligence in the workplace, the self-awareness. Self-awareness is one of the most essential skills for any professional, regardless of what you do for a living. It can help you lead to success in so many ways. Being self-aware can help us be more realistic about ourselves and in our judgments of situations and of others. Today, we have invited a certified EQ practitioner and a personality facilitator to share with us some tips on how to use self-awareness to achieve career growth. Our guest today began facilitating theater workshops and trainings at the age of 19 and has been a personality facilitator for over 12 years. After years in corporate life, he decided to branch out on his own and set up Acuerdo, a company that aims to make emotional intelligence, personality, and organizational development more accessible to all. Without further ado, let's all say hello to Mr. Kevin Dugan.
Yes.
Hi,
Hello,
hi, hi, hi,
Kevin.
hi. Thank you very much for the warm welcome and thank you very much for that introduction, Angel. Hi, Tanya. And thank
Hello.
you. Hi. And thank you to everybody who's watching right now and everybody who's listening right now. So yeah, my name is Kevin Dugan. I'm a certified emotional intelligence practitioner facilitator, and I've been helping people understand what emotional intelligence is, learn and develop emotional intelligence for on full time about 4 years, but not full time for many years. So let me just share with you, I guess, my story and why I do this, and then we'll jump right into talking about self-awareness and career growth. Like Angel said, I started working at the age of 19 in professional theater. And I did that because I was it was considered socialist, social or activist theater. And I did that because I was very interested in social issues and environmental issues, in inequality in society. Kasi I was thinking, ang daming anger sa mundo. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of hate. And so this was creating all these inequalities, these social injustices. So baka mamaya pag nag-theater ako, makakatulong ako to make people more aware of these problems. After some time, na-realize ko, teka. It's not just because just making them aware is not helping. Maybe I should help people learn about these fears and anger, this loneliness that they're all sharing, So I started working on that as well. So I tried helping out people learn that. Pero na-realize ko that I was part of the problem. I was one of those people who was sharing anger. I was one of those people who was sharing a lot of fear and greed. Nagkakalat ako ng loneliness and sadness in the world. And I realized that I have to work on myself. So for many years, I've been working on myself. And just to go back a little bit, I realized the fears that I was feeling, the anxiety, anxiousness that I was feeling, was also hindering my growth, my professional growth. So I realized I needed to work on myself. So for the past many years, I've been working on myself, and this has brought me to my advocacy of helping people build self-awareness. So today we're going to do a very quick chat about what self-awareness is, ano yung mga benefits ng self-awareness. Tapos we'll do a few exercises actually. With through all my engagements in Acuerdo, I'd like to try to make them interactive, introspective, and fun. So hindi lang to magiging talk lang na kaming tatlo na mag-uusap dito.
Right.
I'm going to invite you to join. Hold on. I'd like to invite you as we do some exercises a little later on becoming self-aware. So that's it. That's me. And so we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. All right. So I already shared with you my who, but my why. So I'll start off with a very simple question. And for those of you who are on Facebook, you can answer this question through chat. We'll go ahead and read your answers. So the question is, how do you feel about your career growth? How do you feel right now about your career growth? And maybe we can ask Tanya or Angel what they think.
Ayan, spotlight tayo ulit. Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll go first. Bilang it's Angel's first time, so para hindi siya mabigla sa mga ganitong questions. But yeah, actually I'm pretty happy with where I am now in my career. I've been wanting this position, this job for a long time. About 10 years ago when I realized I wanted it. And I worked hard in the last couple of years to get to it. And now that I'm here, I'm still, I know I'm probably still not an expert at it. Like, kumbaga, na-reach ko lang yung goal ko, pero I still want to continue growing and, become a master of it, being a trainer, being a talent development officer, all in all, not just training. Because the HR part of the business is one of the most kumbaga pinaka-complex for me, but at the same time it's also maybe because it's related to people, so kaya I feel it's complex. But yeah, I mean, I think I am at that point where all I will have to do now is just to keep improving, open myself to opportunities to grow, because this is really where I want to be.
Thank you.
What about you, Angel?
Okay, so as for me, how do I feel about my career growth? For the business development aspect, it's actually very exciting. Workbank has several updates for this year, and of course, with the business development team as the first team front always with our different potential clients. So it's actually very exciting and nervous. So I think that's a good thing together, and always hoping for the next best thing to happen for this career as well.
Great. Thanks, Angel. Thanks, Tanya. All right. So these are what Tanya and Angel are thinking. Let's see. Has anybody sent in any messages yet on Facebook?
I think people are still, or I think they are still trying to figure out where they are in their careers. Baka nagmumuni-muni pa sila.
So, sige. While habang nagmumuni-muni kayo, let me share how I feel about my current career growth. So, I stepped out of having a career 4 years ago. So ngayon, full-time entrepreneur ako. And there are certain things na I want to develop pa. So in terms of parang sales and marketing, I need to develop that. In terms of facilitation, masaya ako when it comes to facilitation because I've learned a lot of different things when it comes to facilitation. Last year, including this year, I started going into deeper into online facilitation. That's how I feel about my career growth. Now, how does that all relate to self-awareness, right? So let's just start by defining what self-awareness is. Self-awareness is the ability to understand your own self. Like Angel was saying earlier, it's understanding your biases. It's not just understanding. Angel was talking a lot about the character traits that we have, the thoughts and emotions, but also self-awareness is also understanding our physical selves, right? How does that relate? So, for example, when I'm feeling a little excited or slightly nervous or medyo anxious, what I notice is that my right shoulder rises. Nagiging tight siya, right? And when I notice that, I I think, ah, okay, I'm I'm feeling a little nervous right now. And so I can start to think, okay, I'm going to manage that. I'm going to bring that shoulder down so that I can focus more. Right? That's my self-awareness, right? So the benefits of becoming more aware of your physical self, your emotional self, um, your mental self include these things, right? So it includes, and this is based on research, improved self-regulation and self-control over thoughts, emotions, habits, and decisions. Right? It also includes a better understanding of who you are and what you want in life. And I'll talk about a little bit more about these later. But better personal motivation. You have a better relationship with yourself. You're able to express yourself a lot better. Tapos, even this is all based on research. Creativity. I'm putting in the names of the researchers and the year of the research here. Of course, pag mas self-aware ka, you have more pride in yourself. You have more self-esteem. It's easier to take other people's perspectives, and you build better personal and professional relationships. Okay. So maybe some of you are thinking, ano ba yan? Ang broad naman ng mga yan. So let's make it more specific, right? What does all of that mean? So when you have improved self-regulation and self-control, you're less mas nakakaya mo mas kaya mong mag-control ng reaction when it comes to stress, when it comes to challenges in life. Okay? What do you mean by better personal motivation? It means that you know how to motivate yourself to get things done. And when you have a better relationship with yourself, you have less anxiousness, you have less self-doubt. And we all know that when we're trying to deliver on projects, we're getting feedback, right? When we're trying to be more creative, we have a lot of anxiousness and self-doubt when we're doing these things. Example lang. So when I was creating this presentation, much younger and less self-aware, I would be more I would have been more anxious about all of this, the graph, what graphics to put, what pictures to put, what words to put. Is this creative enough? Am I not creative enough? Right? But the more aware I am of these feelings that I have, right? The it is for me to just create something rather than doubt myself. And since you're able to, you have less self-doubt, you're less anxious about things, it's it also helps for you to share your thoughts. When you're sharing your thoughts and your feelings with your coworkers, with your office mates, sa mga kasama mo, sa mga kaibigan mo, mas madali siya. Kasi you don't doubt yourself anymore. Right? It's easier to understand others. There's a part here that says increased perspective taking. Ano ba yung increased perspective taking? Right? Perspective taking is trying to understand what other people are thinking or how they perceive things or how they understand things. So, mas madaling intindihin yung naiintindihan ng ibang tao or nakikita ng ibang tao. And when you do that, you have a better relationship with them kasi mas naiintindihan mo sila. One other thing is you become more aware of how you are received by others. So ano bang effect ko sa ibang tao? Ito pala yung effect ko sa ibang tao. And this is one of the things that stopped my career growth when I was in the BPO industry. Hindi ko alam na sa laki ng ego ko, sa laki ng yabang ko, people were being turned off by it. Right? I didn't know that. I didn't know that I had that effect. So now that I know that I have that effect, I've managed myself better. Right? So less focus on pictures of me, less focus on me, but more focus on anyway. And also there's more clarity on how you think about your biases. Sabi ni Angel kanina, biases. Ano ba yung biases na yan? We all have bias. Biased ako. Ako biased ako towards the underdog. Underdog bias ako. I understand that. I know that. Right? I have a negativity bias. I think we all have a negativity bias. So when we're aware of this, mas alam natin kung paano tayo nag-iisip, mas na-control natin siya. We're not overpowered by these things. And then also clarity on your personal strengths. So you know what your strengths are. And there's a movement right now in psychology which talks about strengths rather than strengths and weaknesses. Parang lahat tayo may strengths. There are just some strengths that are not so strong. Right? So these are all the benefits that of becoming self-aware, right? And there are actually a lot more than just these benefits, right? And when you start to build these things, it definitely helps with career growth. And you can tell naman why from what I shared, right? But I also want to say that self-awareness, right, is the basis for all growth, but it's not a cure-all. It's not, parang hindi siya magic na matatanggal lahat ng problema mo sa buhay. Or pag naging mas self-aware ka, automatic ma-promote ka na, or opportunities will fall from the heavens. No, that's not going to happen. Right? There's a lot of other things, especially when it comes to society, your community, your connection with other people, your relationship with other people, which is very important towards career growth. But self-awareness is very, very important for building those relationships with other people. Right? So paano natin, so that's all well and good. Okay, thank you, Kaya. Ang daming haba na explanation mo. Paano ko gagawin yung self-awareness? How do I start building my self-awareness? One of the things that we need to start understanding is first how the brain works, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a very quick exercise. I invite everybody to join along as we do this exercise. I'm going to ask you to put your fist up, or just form a fist. Tapos yung fist na yan is your brain. Example lang ng brain natin yan. So our brain has a brain stem. So dito siya and then sa neck. So yung brain stem natin sa fist natin dito siya. The brain stem receives everything that we perceive in the outside world. So yung naamoy natin ngayon, narinig mong video ngayon, yung nakikita mong video ngayon, it goes to the brainstem. And in the brainstem tells us whether it's whatever we're receiving or not. Simple lang. Okay, that's why it's called the reptilian brain. It's very simple. And then on top of the brainstem is the amygdala. So nandito yun banda. Right? The amygdala and the limbic part of the brain is where after the brain evaluates kung threat ka o hindi, kung threat atong mukha ko o hindi, sasabihin niya, mag-attach ng emotions. So everything we receive, everything we perceive from the outside world, everything that we feel, everything that we, all our interactions have an emotional attachment to it. Sabay papasok siya sa front part of our brain, which is the prefrontal cortex. Okay, so ito yan, yung prefrontal cortex, yung nasa likod ng noo natin. And we start to think, we create intentions. Right? And then we act. And we'll go into that more later. So that's how the brain works. And so that's very important. So that's the first step towards building self-awareness, understanding how our brain works. The second step for me is even more important. And that's to pause. Right? When we pause, it gives us time to think about our own selves. It gives us time to think about our reaction to things, especially pag challenging siya, pag stressful siya. Right? Or it just gives us time to step away from things. No? So a pause is very, very important towards building self-awareness. And for that, we're going to do a very short mindfulness practice right now. I invite you to join me as we do this practice. What we're going to do, and I invite you to join me as I do this, is next few moments, I'm going to just rub my fingers like this. Right? So I'm putting it in front of the screen para makita nyo. Pero kahit nakababa lang yung kamay nyo, okay lang. So for the next few moments, I'm going to rub my fingers like this. And if you're joining us, I invite you to close your eyes. Because for the next few moments, all we'll try to do is focus on our fingers. What do my fingers feel like? Are they rough? Are my fingers smooth? Are my fingers oily? Are my fingers dry? Can I feel the ridges of my fingerprints? Are there scars in my fingers? What do my fingers feel like? And open your eyes. Okay, so for those of you who joined us in that exercise, kumusta naman? I think I saw Tanya and Angel also trying that. Kumusta naman kayo?
Well, if I wasn't listening to you, baka nakatulog ako. But then, very relaxing for some reason. But yeah, I mean, I realized nga, I actually grabbed a towel kasi parang nung ginaganon ko, ay pawis. Pawis yung kamay ko. So kumuha ko ng towel.
Okay. And did you get to focus?
I did, yeah. Well, I was trying not to fall asleep. So ang focus ko is to not fall asleep while I am also trying to feel my fingers. But it actually canceled out whatever else I'm thinking at the moment. Na medyo
So
maingay
you're
sa
able
labas
to
or something like
pause.
that.
Good, good, good. Angel?
Yeah, ako naman, I also was able to focus on the texture of my fingers. It's a really good moment to
Mhm.
pause. And yeah, it's actually a good time to refresh where your focal point is.
Right, right. Thank you, thank you. So for those of us who joined us, for those of you who joined us through that exercise, I hope that you were able to focus. There's quite a few people who have a hard time focusing. uh, Um, and when we're not focused, when we're not pausing our thoughts or pausing ourselves, nadadala lang tayo ng stress, nadadala lang tayo ng challenges, nadadala lang tayo ng lahat ng bagay sa mundo, and we're not able to build our self-awareness. It's a very important thing to start to learn how to pause. Now, ang pause ay hindi lang yung ganyan, right? There's many, many ways of building that pause, of practicing a pause. We can do prayer, we can do meditation, we can do running, jogging, stepping out of the room, counting 1 to 10. Maraming iba't ibang bagay. No? It's up to you to find out how you want to learn how to pause. And then a pause doesn't have to be 10 days, 6 months pause sa aking career. No, it can be 2 seconds. It can be half a second. Depende din sa thing that you need to pause from so you can focus, right? So it's a very important practice, but okay, so let's be realistic here. I'm a very positive person. I try to practice positivity, but I also practice realistic positivity. Let's be realistic. Um, a pause can be also dangerous, right? There are people who practice negative, destructive pauses. Pag-iinom, pag-yosi, right? Addictions can be, I pause muna, maglalaro muna ako ML, right? ML for 10 hours straight, right? Or there's many different pause practices that can be destructive as well. So we have to be careful of that, right? Okay, so that's the first step towards building self-awareness, to pause. And I think I took a little too long there, so we're going to rush with the rest. The next step is understanding our emotions, right? So kung nanonood kayo ng the movie Inside Out, in that movie there were 6 major emotions. But in psychology, sorry, in that movie there were 5 emotions. Pero in psychology there are actually 6 major emotions. And that's powerful, peaceful, sad, joyful, fear, and anger, or mad. Not And it's important that we're able to understand what we're feeling at any point in time, right? Because when we're understanding, like I said earlier, the brain works um, through iba na yung brainstem, tapos papasok siya sa limbic part of the brain, and then we create emotions. So everything that we go through in life has an emotional attachment to it. Now, many of us understand very simple emotions, but one thing that we need to understand is to go deeper into what those specific emotions are. So for this, I'm sharing with you a tool called the Feeling Wheel. So this is a free tool that you can download on the internet anywhere, right? But at Acuerdo, if you want, we can share with you this tool for a fee, of course. This tool plus exercises that you can use with this tool. So what is this? This is the feeling wheel, and in the middle of this wheel, there are the 6 major emotions. Pero hindi lang naman yun ang nararamdaman natin, right? It's very important that we understand the other emotions that are more specific emotions that we feel. So for example, kanina, what did I feel before starting this webinar, this talk? I felt a little excited, right? A little bit foolish also, maybe slight foolishness because I'm not sure if the light was right or if my face is a little oily. So there's a little bit of embarrassment there. Or my face is a little too dry or whatever. But I was also feeling very confident, right? And inspired as well to help people learn this. Right? So when we're better able to identify our emotions, hindi na tayo nagtataka, ano ba itong nararamdaman ko? Right? At pag hindi ka na nagtataka kung ano yung nararamdaman mo, you become a little more confident about yourself. So that's another thing that we need to understand. We need to build understanding our own emotions. Right? So that's one. That's the feeling wheel. And the last thing, well, it's not the last thing. There's a lot of different things we need to do to build self-awareness. But one of the things I always share in nearly all my talks is the awareness wheel. Right? So this is a very old tool that people have been using for generations now, called the awareness wheel. And again, remember going back to sa sinasabi natin kanina, I was sharing with you earlier how the brain works. Remember yung brainstem natin, tapos yung limbic system, tapos yung prefrontal cortex. The awareness wheel is a build-up on that, right? So going back to that, everything that we feel, we smell, we touch, we feel, we see, we hear, ano ba? We taste, we sense, and that's a sense. We sense all of these things. Tapos, like we said earlier, it goes up to the limbic part of our brain, and then we feel things, right? We have emotions na pinakita ko dito kanina. And then afterwards, it goes to the prefrontal cortex, where we start to think about things. Ano bang iniisip ko? Right? And then we also, at the same time, we create an intention. Ano bang gusto kong mangyari dito sa naramdaman ko? Ano bang gusto kong mangyari dito sa na-sense ko? Right? Ano bang gusto kong mangyari dito kay Kevin na kanina pa nagsasalita? And then we create an action. Right? Pagod na ako sa boses niya. Iba na ang papanoorin ko. Or, okay, this guy makes sense. I'll keep on watching. Right? So these are our actions. Right? So we'll try a little bit of this. I'm going to ask either Tanya or Angel to volunteer. I'm going to ask you guys a question, very quick question lang. And then we'll try to practice, put into practice the awareness wheel. Who's game? I'll give you the question first. Ano yung una niyong nakita pag bangon niyo kanina umaga? What's the first thing that you saw when you woke up?
Ako, I'll answer because I can
Go ahead.
remember my alarm.
Okay. So when you heard the alarm, syempre narinig mo kagad siya.
Yes.
Is that how you sensed it? Okay.
Grabbed my phone and then looked at it, turned off the alarm, and then
wait. Okay, so we'll go through it one by one. So you heard the alarm, you saw the alarm. When that happened, what was the emotion going that you felt?
I don't know. I was feeling kind of tired by then because I didn't get enough sleep.
Okay, so tired, which is an emotion, right? And then because you were feeling tired, what were you thinking?
It's the last day of the week naman. Tomorrow's a holiday, so I can probably just, try one more day, try working one more day.
Okay. And then what was your intention when you saw the alarm? Did you want to throw it against the wall kasi may last day of the week na siya? Or ano pa? Ano ba yung mga intention mo?
Not naman. well, it became a habit kasi every morning I get, the alarm will sound. I'll turn it off and then I'll do something for work right away. Babangon, mag-open ng laptop. So parang naging habit ko na siya. So I didn't really feel like throwing my phone, of course, but it's more like a routine thing for me. Na parang okay, last day to do this routine and then pahinga na tomorrow.
Okay. So that was your intention to just go through the Thursday routine.
Yes.
Okay. And then your action was
Well, I went.
what did you do immediately after seeing your alarm?
Um, I'm trying to remember what I did. I think I looked at my calendar kasi nga it's work.
Okay.
I have to check my calendar. What do I have for today? I know I have an early morning meeting. So I was like, I need to get up now. Hindi tayo pwedeng tumambay sa higaan.
Okay. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you. Okay,
Sure.
let's go back. Let's go back to the awareness wheel here. So Tanya sensed the alarm by hearing the alarm. Nakita niya yung alarm, right? Tapos she still felt a little tired, but she was thinking, teka, it's Thursday, I have meetings and I have to do these things. It's the last day of the week, right? So her intention was to get these things, to get the week done, to get work done. And her action was to get up. It's a very, very simple tool, but when we practice this tool, when we practice and use the awareness wheel, we're better able to understand what it is that you're feeling about something. We're better able to understand, ito yung iniisip ko sa bagay na to. We're better able to understand and assess, ano ba yung intention ko dito? What do I want from this thing? And we're better able to understand and assess our actions. Because our actions will dictate whether we'll feel better or worse afterwards. Our actions will dictate whether we feel more productive or less productive, right? Our actions will dictate whether we feel more positive or negative about something. Right? So we can use the awareness wheel for many, many different things. We can use as the awareness wheel for itong pagda-diet ko. Ano bang intention ko dito sa pagda-diet ko? Right? Is it making me feel happier or worse? Right? Is it making me feel more productive or not productive? Or we can use it for deeper things, like in this relationship that I have with this person at work. Right? What are my intentions here? Nakakatulong ba tong intentions ko dito for my long-term vision with this career? Tapos, kung ito yung intentions ko, yung actions ko ba, tugma ba siya sa intentions ko? Baka mamaya ito yung intention mo, tapos yung action mo hindi tugma. Right? And then that creates, that makes you less productive. That makes you less happy about your career. Right? So the awareness wheel can be used for many, many, many different things. Right? And that's it. That's the last exercise I'd like to share with you. Again, like I said earlier, there's many, many other exercises. There's many, many other things that we can do to build our self-awareness, but these are just some of these things. If you'd like to learn more about building self-awareness, we at Acuerdo have a series of workshops called Now I See Me. So these are all based on self-awareness and discovering, growing ourselves through developing emotional intelligence. Right? And that's why it's called Now I See Me. So if you'd like to know more about that, let me know. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I can share my email later on. And you can find us on Facebook, Acuerdo, or Acuerdo Learning. Right. So thank you for giving me 40 minutes to blab. Do you have any questions? maybe we're opening ourselves up for Q&A now, no?
Ako, Kevin, I would just like to share my insights from the from what you've shared earlier. It's actually when you were asking Tanya the question of what she did, the first thing she opened her eyes, I was also doing it mentally. So I was also counting the steps that I did. Why did I do it? How did I do it? And then eventually, it's also being basically doing a self check. Kasi you also brought up the feeling part. Now, what do you feel about the action that you did? Did it make you happy? Did it make you sad? Does it match what you're thinking? So basically, apart from self check, also it's also letting you know where you want to go. It's not just yung pagiging moody lang, but at the same time, knowing na these are the things that I need to do. At the same time, of course, prioritizing the things that you have to do basically for the day itself. So it's actually you mentioned also na it's very simple. So knowing these things, getting refreshed about the simple things is very useful for the day to day, especially everybody's at home, you know. So yeah, it's very useful. Thank you so much for that, Kevin.
Thank you for that insight.
Right, right. Thank you. Actually, ako, if I can also share just a little lang. Anyway, I think we have some time naman for that. You know, to add din lang siguro to Angel's point, that activity wheel siguro yun talaga yung naging kumbaga pinaka-striking for me kasi it helps you figure out actually what your next steps are, yun nga, based on your priorities. So it also helps you na parang to make better decisions for yourself, to make better judgments. And then at the end of it, kumbaga parang wala kang sisisihin kasi alam mo na all throughout, it was something na pinag-isipan mo and you have felt it and you had the urge to do it. So you will be, it's going to be very easy for you to be responsible for your own actions, na wala kang sisisihin iba, or you won't find another person to blame sa lahat na nangyayari sa buhay mo.
Right.
It's all you're doing. I think that's also something that's lacking on a lot of people. Kaya they find it very difficult to be responsible with their actions, or they find it offensive kapag may nag-call out sa kanila kasi they weren't really conscious about ano bang naramdaman nila or anong naisip nila and why they had to do stuff and kung ano yung naging repercussions ng actions nila. So yeah, I hope this actually helps out the rest or the people who are watching us today, because it helped us a lot for sure. There are probably other things that we can do, sabi mo nga, to develop self-awareness, but that's a good start.
Thank you. It is a good start. I really believe it is a good start. So thank you for those insights, and I hope that for those of you who are watching us on Facebook, if you have any questions at all about building self-awareness, or if you have insights na realize nyo during this talk, let us know through the comments, right? So speaking about questions, yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was about to bring up the question. So we actually have a question here from Sheila. So her main question here is, how do we avoid the feeling of being in denial, so to speak? Yeah, how do we avoid that?
Okay. In denial. So when you're denying something about what you feel about yourself, or you may be denying some feedback from work, nag-start talaga yan when we start to feel that. What is the emotion that you feel when you're in denial? Is it fear? Is it shame? Embarrassment? Right? And when you start to identify or is it anger? Right? When you start to identify the emotion that's behind that denial, when you start to understand, ito yung emotion na yun, you'll be able to better understand ano yung basis ng denial mo. Right? Ang basis ba ay shame? Kasi may katotohanan siya. Right? Or is the basis anger? Because it goes against what I truly believe in. Right? So one of the things that I was in denial of many years ago was being KSP, kulang sa pansin. Right? So the first time when somebody told me that I was KSP was in high school. My barkada said, "Pre, pansin mo, napaka-KSP mo." Tapos napamura pa ako. What? F no. But then I started thinking about it and observing myself as well. Right? Observing myself in certain situations. And that's when I started realizing after some years, ay teka, ano, PSP ako. Right? So it all started with taking that pause, looking into myself, understanding those emotions that I was feeling when I was looking for people's attention. So that helped me with my denial of being KSP. I hope that helped.
Right. Yeah. Well, I hope that helps or that answers Sheila's question. No? But that's very insightful. I actually have a question, like a personal question, because you mentioned about getting parang medyo negative feedback from other people. Since you, I think the point of self awareness is for you to be aware of like your own actions and how it's being perceived by other people, and then probably also controlling your reactions to it. So how would you, or is there like a tip that you can recommend to people who find it difficult to receive feedback?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Very good. It's a very simple tip, right? It's not about you. So when people start to receive feedback, especially very critical feedback, right? I think it's very important that we take that pause and try to empathize with the person giving the feedback. Right? Ano ba yung intention niya? Right? Is his intention to give me feedback a productive intention? Okay. And then it's also very good to take a pause and try to understand myself. Why do I feel this way about that negative feedback? Right? Rather than react kagad sa negative feedback niyo, take that pause. Take that pause. Okay, why am I feeling this way about this negative feedback? Ano ba yung nararamdaman ko? Frustration? Anger? Regret? Right? And when you start to understand the emotion that you're feeling behind that reaction to the negative feedback, you start to understand, okay, this is why I'm feeling this way about that negative feedback. So, yeah, I wanted to say a little more, but I think that's the point there. I hope that helped.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right, thanks for answering that one, Kevin. So we also have another follow-up question here from Sheila again. So her question is there such a thing as being too much aware of oneself?
Okay.
Another good question.
Yeah. Actually, Tanya, you mentioned this earlier, no? Yeah, this is kind of related to something you mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So there's self-awareness and there's self-consciousness, right? So self-awareness is that state of understanding yourself, being relaxed about who you truly are, about what you're doing, about your personality, characteristics, etc. Then there's self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is a negative construct. Ang tawag dyan sa psychology, negative construct or negative um, affect, right? Self-consciousness is being too externally aware of other things, of other people, and less focused on what you're feeling within yourself. Example, I started giving webinars and doing online workshops nung 2012, no, 2014, right? And then I would talk to clients or I would give classes online. And then afterwards, one of the project managers in my company said, "Pre, parang masyado kang conscious during the class or masyado kang conscious during the meeting." Ang immediate reaction ko is, huh? Hindi naman. And then I reflected and thought back to that moment. And I realized, okay, at that moment, I wasn't focused on what I was saying. I wasn't very focused on my inner self. I was focused on what were other people thinking about my face. I was focused on what were other people thinking about the things I was saying. Baka mamaya i-judge nila ako. Or magkamali ako. And that's self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is too much focus on what other people are thinking of you. I'm not saying it's wrong, right? It's important as well to understand or to be conscious of how people perceive you, right? Kung wala akong self-consciousness ngayon, I would be standing here doing this webinar in my pambahay, unshaved, walang ligo, magulo buhok ko, right? Sobra naman self-focused na. I would be too self-focused naman, right? I wouldn't care about what you think. What do I care, right? It is important, but it also has to have a balance. Right? If you're too self-conscious, that's a negative. There's a negative the negative thing is that people see you as not being authentic. So it's not, going back to the question, hindi siya about being too self-aware. Okay? It's about being too aware of what other, or too focused on what other people think of you. Sorry, long answer.
No, it's okay actually. You mentioned that was something that I was asking you before we started, right? Because I didn't know the difference between self-awareness and self-consciousness. Now you would sometimes associate or mix up the other two and feel like it's self-awareness that's causing or that's triggering your anxieties, when in fact it's your self-consciousness. Because you're worried about what other people will think of you or will say about you. But yeah, I think you were able to clarify the difference naman. And so siguro it's just probably something then not everyone is familiar with. So I hope now nalinawan, not just Sheila, but myself. So thank you for answering that, Kevin. Medyo problema ko rin kasi yun, no? I thought it's because of my self-awareness, like over self-awareness to the point na it would trigger my anxieties every time I have to do something in front of the audience. When in fact, yun pala, it's self-consciousness. So yeah, that was a very good point you raised, Sheila. Thank you for asking that question for my behalf or on my behalf. I don't know if we have any more questions. I don't think we have any more questions. I think everyone was satisfied and was happy, and very informative naman yung session mo, Kevin. So it's probably why we don't get a lot of questions. But for everyone who's watching, you got Kevin's contact details naman kanina. I think he shared his LinkedIn info, so you can probably reach out to him na lang if you have anything more for him. other than that, thank you very much for joining us today, Kevin. Sobrang helpful talaga yung mga tips mo, particularly ako. I always make it a point to yung mga ganitong session, even though it's for everyone. I always like to have like personal takeaways. And of course, I would say from myself na this was a very productive session. So thank you. And I think we also are well just in time. I would like to take this opportunity to then to thank everyone who's joined us today on Workbank Think Tank series. If you would like to watch the or rewatch the series, or if you joined halfway through or you got dropped halfway through the show, you can always go back to our Facebook page to rewatch, or even share it with your friends or anyone who you think might benefit from this session. I would also like to take this opportunity then to promote or to invite everyone to join our free trainings happening on the 20th or no, actually tomorrow. We have a training happening tomorrow at 4 in the afternoon. And then on the 20th of February, that's a Saturday. And then another one on the 27th for disc profiling naman, which has also something to do with your own discovering your own personality. So if you'd like to know more about the trainings or if you would like to sign up, please visit workbank.com/trainings to reserve yourself a slot. So that's it for today. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you again, Kevin and Angel, for being here with us today. And we hope to see you again in the next couple of weeks for the next Workbank Think Tank. Bye, guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Thank you for inviting me. Hope to talk to you again soon. Thanks to everyone who watched on Facebook.